are celebrating Canada's 150th birthday, and one of the things I love most about doing this is the opportunity to speak to people from my past and in our present. And these are two wonderful young men from Silverstein, and they are from Burlington. So, first of all, guys, let's talk about humble beginnings in the basement. Like whose basement?
Often my parents' basement. At one point we moved over to Oakville and jammed in our singer's parents' basement, but a lot of parents' basements involved in the general area, for sure.
Yeah.
The very first time I met Josh was in his parents' basement in April of 2000, and it was a matter of a couple of kids, in high school making some noise and being like, yeah, let's write some songs and play the local community center. And that's really just how it started. It was very humble and very, short term at the time. We didn't think it was going to be anything bigger than that.
And you were telling me before, Paul, that really coming out of Burlington, there are so many wonderful musicians, actors, writers, painters. I mean, we're so rich in the arts in this community. And you said that there is a very strong community here. So where was it in this whole scene, or who was it who inspired you to say, you know what, we can have a career out of this?
To have a career is tough, but to be a band, I guess there was this other band called Grade from Burlington, kind of late 90s, kind of into that same time, early 2000s, and they were actually touring the world. They had some records out and stuff like that, and they were doing it. They seemed to be having a good time with it. We're like, and that's kind of a band that we modeled some of our sound off of.
Right.
And they were from our hometown, so being inspired by a band that you literally could, pass on the street was a pretty cool thing for us.
No one can stop it. No one can stop it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Cold nights in a broken home. Long talks with the dial tone. Everywhere I go in the shadows, I see your ghost drowning in the silent seas. You said you would never leave. Everywhere I go in the shadows, I see your ghost.
Representing Canada, Ambassadors for Canada, what's the reaction to Canadians in Europe and in your audience?
I think we're pretty well loved.
Yeah.
Loved and respected.
Especially this time, this time in the world, yeah, it's pretty nice to differentiate, because I think we spent so much time in America. Like, we're signed to a U.S. label, we do a lot of touring down there. People can think we're American, so it's nice to be like, no, we're Canadian, and then that sets us apart. It's like. It helps, I think.
I think some people will often just assume that we are an American band, but in America we don't necessarily it's not as big a deal to say, well, hey, we're not. Other places in the world, they really like to hear that.
When you think about what it does mean to be Canadian, and then you meet somebody who says, I want to come to Canada, would you encourage them to come to this area? And if you did, what is it that you would say, don't miss when you go to Burlington?
I think let's equate it back to music. I mean, the Sound of Music Festival is one of the most incredible festivals in all of Canada.
Right.
And it happens in Burlington. It's the kind of festival you would expect in a Toronto or Montreal or whatever. But that's something that I think Burlington should be really proud of, because that puts Burlington on the map.